It is Bones, and today let's do another top 10 video. Now, tomorrow I should be finally putting out my top 20 figures from DC Multiverse in 2023, but I did want to get this little top 10 out of the way first, and that is going to be the top 10 live action figures from McFarlane's DC Multiverse for 2023. So, pretty short list, but we did have some interesting releases from McFarlane this year from the movies released by Warner Brothers DC. Surprisingly, a lot of cool stuff. And interestingly enough, some of the better complete actual action figures have been in the live action releases. Now, if anybody knows me, I was never a big live action fan, even going back to the Mattel days. But for some reason, McFarlane got me hooked, and I just started collecting the live action as well. I do not put as much emphasis on the live action as I do with the figures released based on the comic books. But this did end up being a very intriguing top 10. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I do have one honorable mention, and I did omit, surprisingly, a lot of figures. There was probably basically another 10 figures or more that I just didn't put on the list. So, coming from McFarlane, who releases tons of comic stuff, that is pretty interesting. But first, the honorable mention is going to be Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl from Batman and Robin. Now, although most of her counterparts did make it onto the top 10, she tried to get in there. There was, she is a really nice looking figure. I can even see why a lot of people are saying that a lot of the live action stuff, especially the recently released stuff, is really good from McFarlane, really well designed. Love the thigh high boots and all the attention to detail. Looks really good. The face is there. Um, I'd say the only thing I didn't like, I mean, the articulation is great. I think the complete, almost absence of any sort of uh, derriere is what really saddened me about this figure. It's just kind of flat there. That I mean, in the movie, I don't think they really show or put any emphasis on her rear end. But me, that's something I do look for. It just was a little bit of a letdown, but she is the only honorable mention, so that in itself is really great because she almost made it into the top 10. But that is your honorable mention, the Alicia Silverstone Batgirl from Batman and Robin. So let's get into the real list now. Coming in at number 10 is going to be the re-release of the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman figure from Fury of the Gods, the second Shazam movie. Now, the reason I have her so low is because this is basically a re-release of the figure. The only thing they changed was giving her a little bit more thicker thighs. Of course, the notorious hot dog legs from the first release is still out there causing people's nightmares. But if you put it all in perspective, Gal Gadot's legs are not really this muscular. It is just more appealing to our eyes that this looks a lot better. Now, I do have a different head on this one. This is actually the head from the original release because she originally comes with this second version of Gal Gadot's head with a separate tiara. I think in the movie she uses this as a weapon. That is why it came separate with the figure, but I actually display her on the shelf with the first release's head, but with that same lower body, and it looks really good. Love having this Wonder Woman up on the shelf with my live action collection. So, not too much to talk about. She is articulated, but nothing new really per se, except for the shape of the legs, although that is a big upgrade from the original release. Now, coming in at number 9, we do have the Chris O'Donnell version of Robin from Batman and Robin. Now, this is another one that didn't get any higher on the list, but he is a really superb action figure. And when I say action figure, I do mean in the complete sense that just the design and the way McFarlane has finally realized having good articulation and good sculpt work in the figures, especially keeping it at that same price point of around $20. Just look at the cool sculpt details. Everything is here. Everything looks awesome. Great articulation. I have seen tons of reviews on these guys, but I already know myself, these do have ab crunch. A lot of the newer releases from McFarlane in the live action department actually have great articulation and crunch. But something really special about this figure is he is basically the first time I want to say, McFarlane, make your comic book figures, stylized in this version. Because if you do a head swap on this one and you put the Dick Grayson red suit Robin on top of here, it fits perfectly. And with the awesome articulation, the awesome aesthetic of the body, it just looks like a complete action figure. So that is our number 9, Chris O'Donnell's Robin from Batman and Robin. Beautiful figure. Another thing they're really emphasizing now is the face sculpts, really getting close to the actual actors. And it's been a while since they've actually had a dud in that department. And it could only get better the more we move on. So that is your number 9 figure. Now, coming in at number 8, we do have one of my personal favorites. Now, you will understand why I put this guy above the Robin figure, and that is because this guy has the same thing. Beautiful sculpt work, beautiful attention to detail, great articulation. He even has something I don't really enjoy, but if they're hidden, they are fine, which are thigh cuts. Now, this is my customized version. I repainted the head to give it a little bit more of an Affleck look because, of course, the original release is kind of like an uncanny version of Ben Affleck. No real resemblance there. Plus, I changed out the cape. And although I do have other versions, like I have the one on the actual Bat Cycle that are just your standard release, this is actually my favorite version of the figure. Now, I do have another one of these because I do want to do a repaint in the blue and gray color scheme that you see in the film. Now, at first, I didn't really do that because I was afraid that McFarlane would end up releasing that figure. So I didn't want to waste my time painting it when McFarlane would actually end up doing it. But now that we know the movie didn't do so well, I think McFarlane will not be releasing that figure, so I can go ahead and do my custom repaint. But there is just something about this figure that I love. If I pick him up and start articulating him, it's really hard to put him down. I really enjoy my custom version. He's fun to pose, looks good in figure photography. Just an all around awesome figure. So that is number 8, the Ben Affleck Batman figure from the Flash film. Now, coming in at number 7, we do have another Fury of the Gods figures. A lot of people don't talk about this guy, but there are a lot of big positives with him, mainly being his hands are the most proportionate hands I have, really seen on these figures. He did come with alternate hands and effects, and this is where they really started getting the likeness of the actors as well. Beautifully sculpted figure, beautifully designed. They did try something here with the wrist pegs to kind of match the gauntlets, which is cool for innovation and to move the figures forward in the way they are executed. Overall, really top-notch figure. Haven't really looked at him as much as I would like to, but once you go back and revisit him, you just really see all the things that make him an awesome figure. That is the Levy version of Shazam from Fury of the Gods. Pretty sweet. Now, coming in at number 6, we actually do have the Michael Keaton Batman from the Flash film. Now, this is a completely different version than the actual Batman 89, but I still love this guy. Great detail, great articulation. This is when I kind of knew that we would be getting some really cool stuff from McFarlane in the live action. Just look at that head sculpt, really, really resembles Michael Keaton. Now, I remember people being, negative, saying that it doesn't look anything like the 89 Batman, but we ended up finding out that it wasn't the 89 Batman, it was Batman from the Flash film. So for that, he is spot on. Great design, great ab crunch, great articulation, a lot of fun. That is the Michael Keaton Batman from the Flash film. Pretty cool to have him on the list. Now we are at the halfway point. Bringing out number 5 is going to be Jamie Reyes from the Blue Beetle. Now this is my custom version because I did add the little tentacles, scarab appendages that he did not come with from McFarlane. But once again, cannot emphasize enough. Beautiful scope work, beautiful figure, looks awesome, great detail, fun to articulate, fun to pose. Just hardly any negatives I could say about this figure. 2 versions did come out. If you buy both, you have tons of accessories, tons of fun. And for a while there, they were even on sale. So right now, this guy can actually pass for a comic version until we actually get one. But do not sleep on this one. He is a very, very fantastic figure. That is number 5, Blue Beetle from the film. Now, coming in at number 4, we do have the Heath Ledger version of the Joker from the Dark Knight Trilogy wave. Now, this is an awesome figure. Really captures that Heath Ledger version of the Joker. Can't say enough about this figure. Sort of gives a little bit of that spooky feel that Heath Ledger tried to transfer onto celluloid. Great figure. You can add all kinds of weapons and give him some more sort of attitude. Not the best articulated figure, but you really don't need him to do much. Bank robber, sonar signal, a couple of others. But I really like this original release from the Bane Collective Build wave. That is Heath Ledger's Joker. Now we are at the top 3. These are going to be the best of the best. Now coming in at number 3 is actually the Uma Thurman version of Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin. I mean, where do you start with this one? The sculpt work, the pretty, easy articulation. Man, look at that hair. That's just some awesome hair sculpt. Love some red hair. That's beautiful. Just a great all around figure. If you look at all the attention to detail, that's even more surprising. Rings on her hands, and even on the palm, you have that where she like blows the pheromones into Batman and Robin's face. Just awesome. Just the design of these figures are getting so good that it's hard to even find any negatives. Love the sort of leaf embossed print that they have on her thigh. Just a completely great figure. Now, she doesn't come with any accessories, but you can match up the Ivy from the Superman Hush. I did find it has a sort of little hook on it that actually hooks like directly into her finger, and you can sort of hang it down. That holds it, and you can sort of hang it down around her legs. So, really nice figure. Cool to see more female characters coming out from McFarlane. And hopefully we see a little bit more in the future. But that is your number 3, Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin. Really, really an amazing action figure. Now, this one's going to be a little bit weird. This is coming in the runner-up, number 2. And this is going to be weird because this is actually any of the figures from the Batman 6-pack the 89 Batmobile. Any of these Batmans are basically designed the same way, especially the newer ones like the Val Kilmer and the George Clooney. Any of these Batman figures are really starting to show McFarlane hit his stride. Just awesome, awesome figure. Cool articulation, beautiful design. Can't say enough about these live action Batman figures. Now, I do have the other one, the Clooney from the Mr. Freeze wave, but I've seen a lot of reviews of these and they are all top tier action figures, great articulation, great sculpt work, great design in the ball joints for the wrist and the ankles, making a really seamless silhouette for these beautiful figures. So, any one of these figures that you have, consider yourself having a figure that is really high on my list. Like I said, having one of these Batman in your collection really shows just how McFarlane has progressed in the action figure market. Beautiful, beautiful figures. And that will be actually my runner up to the number one live action figure from McFarlane for 2023. And that number one is actually going to be Black Manta from the Aquaman 2 wave. Oh man, this is an awesome figure. Can't say enough. The design, the helmet, all of the attention to detail with this figure is just really, really fantastic. I mean, there's not much more to say for me. This is a 10 out of 10 figure. Love having them in the collection. And besides the sculpt work, besides the design, besides the articulation, one thing I really enjoy about this guy is that for right now, he can actually be a stand in for a comic Black Manta. He just has that cool look and that seamless design that you're looking for. Love this figure. Can't recommend him enough. And he is the number one figure from the live action from McFarlane for 2023. But, anyways, guys, let me know what you think. This is just my list. Your list could be completely different. Let me know who you have on your list. There's a lot of other figures I didn't put on here, but you guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.